All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're basically going to act as literary detectives, totally dissecting Ted Hughes's brilliant poem, The Laburnum Top. We're going to look at the exact mechanics of how he takes a perfectly silent, almost dead-seeming tree and temporarily turns it into this chaotic, thrilling engine of life. Honestly, if you love seeing how a few perfectly chosen words can just completely transform a scene, you are absolutely in for a treat with this one.
We've organized our investigation into 5 quick stages. First, the silent laburnum tree. Second, the engine of the family. Third, masks and machine imagery. Fourth, sounds, words, and colors. And finally, extending the poem.
Starting right off with Section 1, the silent laburnum tree setting the scene.
So, here is our primary evidence, the poem itself. Just looking at its shape on the page, you can see it presents this beautiful, self-contained mystery. It's a short, highly concentrated burst of observation about a specific tree in the yellow sunlight of September. We aren't dealing with a sprawling epic here, you know? We're looking at a microscopic focus on a single transformative event in nature.
To make sure we're all on the same page, let's look at our 2 main subjects. First, the laburnum. It's a short tree with hanging branches, yellow flowers, and, this is key, poisonous seeds. So there's a real element of danger disguised by beauty here. Second, the goldfinch, a small singing bird with striking yellow feathers. Catching the overlap already? Both feature this super prominent yellow color, which is going to be incredibly important.
Now, check this out. This perfectly shows the poem's core structural contrast. Notice what happens at the very beginning versus the ending. It starts in absolute deliberate stillness. Silent, quite still. And after all the crazy action we're about to uncover happens, look at how it ends. The laburnum subsides to empty. It's a perfect circle. Nature bursts into this chaotic life, and then just as quickly returns to a profound silence, almost like nothing ever happened at all.
Moving on to Section 2, the engine of the family, where we see the disruptive action. So the moment the goldfinch arrives with a twitching chirrup, everything shifts. The pacing goes from this slow autumn deliberation to absolute frenetic energy. But Hughes doesn't just say the bird flew in fast. He gives us a very specific, actually kind of shocking comparison. What exactly is the bird's movement compared to?
The crucial point is right here. The bird is compared to a lizard. I mean, why a lizard, right? Because she is sleek and alert and abrupt. A lizard doesn't move with sweeping, graceful arcs. It darts. It's perfectly camouflaged, hyper-aware of predators, and moves with this sudden, jerky, almost robotic precision. Her sudden, darting entry into the thickness of the tree's branches acts like a literal switch. It's the catalyst that turns on a hidden machine of chaotic life right inside the leaves.
And the metaphor just deepens beautifully from there. The bird isn't just a visitor, she is the literal fuel source. Hughes writes, "It is the engine of her family. She stokes it full. By bringing food to her hidden chicks, she's basically throwing coal into a furnace. She stokes this biological engine until the whole tree is literally trembling and thrilling with their fed energy. Then, with her job temporarily done, she flirts out to a branch end, which is this swift, light movement escaping the absolute chaos she just fueled."
All right, Section 3, masks and machine imagery, deepening the metaphor.
Let's really ponder this engine metaphor for a second. Why use such harsh, mechanical imagery for something as natural as a bird feeding its young? Well, think about an engine. It's noisy, it vibrates. It's a mechanism of pure converted energy. By calling the nest an engine, Hughes perfectly captures the overwhelming, demanding noise and vibration of hungry chicks reacting to their mother. He literally transforms a piece of wood into an active, buzzing factory of life.
Then, as she flirts out to the branch end, we hit this incredibly evocative phrase. Her barred face identity mask? What on earth does that mean? It actually points to a genius visual trick of nature. The shadows of the tree's barred branches falling across her, combined with the dark physical markings on the goldfinch's face, completely obscure her true identity. She's yellow inside a yellow tree, so her body just vanishes. All you see is this striped, shadowy face, like a masked bandit who just pulled off a heist, right before she launches back into the infinite sky.
Which brings us to Section 4, sounds, words, and colors. Time for a little micro-analysis. Let's organize our evidence here. Look how clearly he separates the auditory chaos from the kinetic energy. On the left, we've got the sound words, chitterings, trillings, whistle chirrup. It is a total cacophony of high-pitched noise.
Then on the right, the movement words: twitching, startlement, abrupt, tremor. Notice how these aren't smooth or calming words at all? They are words of sudden shock and rapid displacement. The vocabulary itself is physically enacting the crazy energy of the bird.
Visually, though, the poem is remarkably restricted. It's completely bathed in a single dominant color, yellow. Hughes gives us yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing as autumn sets in, and of course, the goldfinch itself with its yellow feathers. This links the sunlight, the dying leaves, and the living bird into one incredibly cohesive visual palette. It's brilliant camouflage. The bird blends so perfectly into the autumn tree that the life force seems to be coming from the tree itself, right up until the bird reveals its masked face at the branch end.
Now pay attention to the sounds for a second. Look at the specific, repeated phonetic sounds, particularly the frequent ch and tr consonants. Chitterings, chirrup, trillings, tremor, tree. Try saying them out loud. These aren't soft, flowing vowels. They are hard, repetitive, almost clicking consonants. They onomatopoeically mimic the mechanical, chattering, super demanding noise of the baby birds. The very sound of the poem is the sound of that engine starting up.
Finally, Section 5, Extending the Poem, looking at the broader pedagogical goals.
This right here is basically the secret blueprint of our whole explainer today. By following these steps, starting with the literal definitions, mapping out the beginning to end structure, and then diving really deep into the engine imagery and specific clicking sounds, we haven't just read a poem. We've developed actual poetic sensitivity. We've learned how to dismantle a scene and truly read like a writer. Let's take it a step further and break out of the English language bubble. Think about finding local equivalents for the laburnum and the goldfinch in other languages, or maybe seeking out thematically similar poems across different cultures. Nature is completely universal, but the way we label and describe its hidden engines varies so beautifully from language to language.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this final creative challenge. It's super simple. Write 4 lines in verse form on any tree that you see around you. So I pose this question to you. What silent, seemingly empty, everyday object in your own surroundings can you bring to thrilling life with just 4 careful lines of verse? Keep your eyes open, look for the hidden engines around you, and as always, keep exploring.